Hello, Red Wave. Welcome to We're Bulldogs podcast. We're your hosts, Caleb Nail. That's Caleb Pletz. Some of the most diehard Fresno State fans around. This podcast, as many fan podcasts say, but I would argue, Caleb, we were one of the first to say it by the fans for the fans.
That's been since day one. That was the calling card.
5 years ago. So we didn't. I haven't looked that up though. Don't fact check me. Welcome to the show, everybody. We are talking about Fresno State Air Force, previewing this game. But first, go ahead and follow us on X, Beware_Bulldogs. We're also on Instagram, Beware Bulldogs Podcast, and we're on YouTube. Make sure you head over there because for some reason, the Spotify/iTunes deal that we upload to is not working right now. So everything's going to be on X and YouTube for certain. So head over there. You can watch and listen. Subscribe, like the video, hit the notification bell so you get notified when an episode goes up. We also go live on Sundays at 7 p.m. to do live recaps. Those are always fun. This last one was pretty wild, even after a loss. We never know what to expect after a loss. It was lively. It was a good time. But today, Caleb, we talk about and preview the Fresno State Bulldogs heading to Colorado to play the Air Force Falcons. An Air Force Falcons team that is 1-7, last in the Mountain West. Overall wise, they're the worst. Conference record wise, they're tied with Nevada at 0-4. But Air Force's one win is over Merrimack, so they have not beat an FBS Division I school. They lost to San Jose State 17-7. They lost to Baylor. They got beat by Wyoming, who's not very impressive, 31-19. They lost to Navy 34-7. New Mexico lost to New Mexico 52-37. Put up a decent fight against Colorado State 21-13, and then most recently lost to Army. They covered the 18.5, but they lost 20-3. Now they get us at home. Caleb, initial reaction to us heading into Air Force. What's the matchup looking like?
Well, it's certainly one that the Dogs can't overlook. I mean, yeah, the Air Force Academy is going to play hard regardless. So it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be cold. We'll get to the weather in a little bit, but I think that's definitely going to play a factor in this game. But I mean, this is a game that the Bulldogs should handle. The Falcons with no problem. The Bulldogs should be more physical and just more competent on offense, I would say, to be able to move the ball and score points. And this is definitely a building year for Air Force. And I mean, that's kind of the nature of the service academies. I mean, they had a really big senior class last year that was, really good team. And, that showed in their record. And then, when those guys graduate, it's a whole new crop that's coming in. So definitely the building stage for the Falcons right now. But initial reaction is, for Skipper's sake, I sure hope he does not lose this game, because then it's going to be mutiny and revolt in the fan base. So, yes, it's very winnable. They should handle business, but it's tough. You just can't overlook the service academies because they're difficult to prepare for. I mean, completely different offensive scheme, so it's always a challenge.
Yeah, the one thing we know is you're going to get option. That's the offensive attack that we're going to get, the option, the triple option. Other than that, they haven't been very impressive. When we look at names for Air Force, just so you guys are familiar going into Saturday, if everything loads, their leading passer is John Busha, their quarterback. He's thrown 79 passes. He has 415 yards total. They have had two other quarterbacks play and throw passes, but Busha leads the way. 1 touchdown to 5 interceptions. So,
I mean, and that completion percentage is very poor. I mean, 36% completion percentage on the season for the young man.
Oh man, they Air Force has given up, looks like 16 sacks. That's rough. I won't complain anymore about sacks. The rushing attack, their roster's primarily built up of just running backs. So they've had, I think they have, they have 5 or 6 guys that have carried the ball over 40 times. Cade Harris is their leading rusher in yards. Then Quentin Hayes, he's actually listed as a quarterback, but he is their second leading rusher. So they have different guys come in and play. Josh Busha, their quarterback that leads them in passing, has ran the ball over 100 yards as well, along with Terrence Gist and Dylan Carson and Owen Allen. So those are the names offensively you should look out for. Receiving wise, Cade Harris leads them in receiving, who also leads them in their running game. Defensively, Camby Goff and Jamari Bellamy are their 2 DBs, and they lead the team in tackles. So there is a fly in here. How does a fly get in here? Sorry. So Camby Goff and Jamari Bellamy lead the team in tackles as DBs. Osaro Aehi is their linebacker that leads the way. And then if you're curious about sacks on the D line, Peyton's Droik leads the way with 3, along with Lincoln Tuioti Mariner. Those are the 2 guys you look out for rushing the passer.
Yeah, and I mean, as a team, only 6 total sacks for the Air Force defense this year, so not a ferocious pass rush. And yeah, a little interesting to see leading tacklers, both of them be defensive backs. So a little bit uncharacteristic there. So, I mean, I don't think this is a defense that particularly worries me, but I'm sure they're going to play fundamentally sound. But as long as Fresno State executes on their side, I mean, they should be able to, gotta knock on some wood here, but they should be able to block for either the running game or give Mikey a little bit of time to throw.
Air Force defense has forced 1 interception. And they have forced 11 fumbles. So that's just in comparison, Fresno State has forced 10 fumbles. This is not recovered, just forced fumbles. And we have 13 interceptions on the season. We should take advantage of this Air Force team, to say the least. Okay, there's a little bit of behind the scenes for Air Force. Caleb, I want to get to our segments really quick, but I do want to add the sponsor for today's episode. Big shout out to the Quarterback Club. If you're not familiar with the Fresno State Quarterback Club, Quarterback Club is a group of people that get together and they throw their money together and they do things for the football team, and they fundraise for the football team. So they will have meetings. The coaches will come out and speak. They'll have former players come out and speak. You get to meet them and they'll do these at different places all around the valley. And they also do meals for the team, and you can be a part of that. They're great people. If you want to get more involved and you want more info on the Quarterback Club, or you're thinking about joining, DM us, and I'm going to hook you up with Mike Stovall. And Mike Stovall, former player, former offensive lineman for a Fresno State football team. He will get you all the info you'll need, and I can hook you up. So DM us, or if you know Mike or have his contact info, contact Mike Stovall. But the Quarterback Club, they have been huge supporters of this podcast, and they are massive supporters of the football program, and they're looking to grow. They used to have a huge base of supporters in that Quarterback Club, and it kind of fell apart. Now they're bringing it back to life, and it's slowly growing, and it's really cool to see. So DM us if you'd like more information on it, and then I can get you in contact with Mike Stovall, who is kind of leading the charge for Quarterback Club. And And they wanted to support us too. And so they're sponsoring this episode today, Caleb. So Quarterback Club, great group of people and a good cause. All right, Caleb, let's talk about things that are making us a little bit nervous. We'll get the negative out of the way, and then we're going to talk about the positive. So the CNC Football Factory, going to make you sweat a little bit here. What's going to make you sweat this weekend?
As an expert on sweat and sweating, I may as well be a sweat scientist.
Pretty simple for me. It got to be turnovers. I mean, this is going to need to be a clean game for the Fresno State offense, and I think it's going to be a limited possession game. I think the clock's going to be running. Air Force is going to hold on to the ball as much as they can. So, in a game, I guess similar to last week against Hawaii, where the offense might only have the ball 4 times in the first half. If we're coughing it up and fumbling or something, I mean that's really going to be detrimental for the offensive production. So simple. I mean, we just can't turn the ball over. So if there's an early turnover and maybe the Dogs give Air Force really short field position, they're able to punch in an easy score. I mean that's gonna make me sweat for sure.
Oh, big time, man. I'm not even gonna go that far. If we can't score more than 20 points, what are we going to do? Now here's the thing. I don't think Air Force's offense is good enough to score 23 touchdowns on us. I don't, and I think our defense is good enough to. I think they're really good, and I think they're good enough to shut them down and hold them to limited amount of points. But if we don't score, I mean, we may not win a game, and all it takes is, a muffed punt or an interception that goes the other way for a pick six, and all of a sudden they're in that game. They're in the game, or they're winning, or they get good field position, and it's a completely different ball game. We have to score. We can't have empty possessions. So if I see the same offense that I saw at the end of the fourth quarter against Hawaii, I'm going to sweat out of the gate if I see that.
Mm-hmm.
Have to be able to run the ball. I don't mind us. I'm going to got to be very careful what I say. I don't mind us relying on the pass if it's working. I don't mind us relying on the run if it's working. If it's working, do it. But I don't want us to get so vanilla that everyone in the stadium and on the field knows exactly what's going to happen. So I'm going to be nervous if it's the same offensive look as late game against Hawaii. While it's on my mind, do you think that Cam Lockridge being out the first half is going to affect this game like it did against Hawaii?
If there's any opponent that we're down a cornerback against Air Force, it's probably one of the better candidates for it, just because it's not a huge passing attack, but I mean, there's probably a good chance that they hit one longer pass play just after kind of lulling the defense to sleep. So I'm not super concerned with that. I mean, I think we've seen Julian Neal improve over this season, and I think Hamilton is a very good cornerback too. So between those two guys, I think that the defense should be fine for this first half. And then, with Jakari Embry getting some playing time too, I know he was kind of seeing some nickel, third corner action here lately. I think that between those three guys, I think we have it covered. I mean, like the coaching staff said in the press conference this week, this is just follow your assignment and just make the tackle when the play's in front of you. It's not. Doesn't have to be too complicated here. And, just as long as we're playing fundamental and assignment football, they just need to go out and make the play.
Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing we'll miss is on the field energy. But I mean, we know he's going to bring it on the sideline, and he'll be back in the second half, ready to go. Mm-hmm. So I'm not too worried about it either. The other thing that's going to make me sweat, and that I brought it up, is Jalen Moss returning kicks. I get nervous every time they punt the ball. Serious. Every time Jalen Moss is back there. I like what he can do with the ball in his hands, but it's getting the ball in his hand. That makes me a little nervous. Anything else that going to make you sweat?
That's a good point. I mean, just a quick special teams question. I mean, from a strategy perspective, I mean, maybe this is a game where we just rush 11 guys at the punter and just not even put a guy back there to field the punt. Where it lands, it lands. That's kind of a peewee strategy, I guess. But
I'm all about it, man. Let's get a block punt. I'm sick of watching Ricky White block punts. It should be us.
yeah,
We got UNLV taking our special teams glory. We got Boise State taking our punching people in the mouth, running the football glory. We got to take something for ourselves. We got to take it back. We got to take all that stuff back. And those are really good football teams. By the way, we will get to college football playoff because the rankings were released. And so I want to look at the current bracket. So we'll do that at the end when we go through Mountain West games this weekend and the bracket. And by the way, basketball Friday, 7 p.m. We'll share a little bit about that later on. Caleb, positive. What's going to make us dance? CNC Factory, everybody dance now. Changing the mood.
Everybody dance now.
What you got, Caleb?
So I think for this one, I'm going back to the well for the only success so far this season. If the Fresno State defense pitches a shutout against Air Force, I'll dance because we need to get back some positive energy for this team. And frankly, like we've seen the last couple of weeks, the defense is what's going to be carrying this team. And so, I mean, I'm predicting this is going to be a low-scoring game, and a defensive shutout is, really the only way to guarantee a win. The offense just has to score a point. So, shutout, I'm dancing.
Mikey Keene, 4 touchdowns.
Total or passing?
Passing.
Okay.
Mikey Keene, 4 passing touchdowns. I want to see him be successful. And I'm sure he does too. Everyone does. I want to see him do that. And if that's the case, right, from what I believe, from what I would do game planning against Fresno State, what Hawaii did, what I assume Air Force is going to do, we're going to hold on to the ball. We're going to limit possessions because I don't think their offense can really beat us. Either we're going to beat us by turning the ball over, or their defense is going to stop us. That's my mindset of an opponent, Fresno State. So I need Mikey Keene to go out there and prove that he deserves to be starting quarterback and dominate teams like Air Force. We have the wide receiver core to dominate this team. I debated adding Elijah Gilliam 100 rushing yards because we should be dominant offensively in the air and on the ground. I'm just going to keep it with Mikey, 4 passing touchdowns for now. And I think there could be 4 different receivers. I mean, Max should get a deep one. Jalen Moss will make a good play. Raylan Sharp's going to be wide open because nobody can guard him. And then Jake Baus is going to catch it with his club. So,
well, I'll say this. I mean, if Fresno State is able to score 4 touchdowns, I think that's an automatic victory.
yes.
I'm a little bit more pessimistic about the outlook this week.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's why it's my everybody dance now, because we got to they got to do something that we're not expecting.
Yes.
Right. So 4 touchdowns, Mikey Keene. And what was yours, Caleb? One more time.
Shutout.
I think it's very doable.
Yeah.
Both of those. Okay, let's get to keys to the game. We talked a lot about multiple keys to the game, Caleb, but single a couple out here that you think are your main keys for a Bulldog victory.
First one is field position. For Fresno State found themselves in some less than optimal field position last week against Hawaii, and Clay Lawrence is not a flip the field kind of guy. He's a better punter when he's trying to pin him inside the 20. So, and making this Air Force offense drive 85 yards to try to score a touchdown is a whole lot easier than giving them a short field where they only have to go 40. So I think that's going to be huge, controlling the field position, controlling the clock, maintaining time of possession. So I mean, this like kind of simple but kind of boring game stuff. I think that's what this game's going to come down to.
Yeah, I agree. I'm going to take your you talked about turnovers. I think turnovers are key to this game. But if we don't turn the ball over, we're most likely going to be scoring points. I mean, granted, we did punt the ball 7 times against Hawaii, which worries me. But I'll just add it to your special teams key is that we just should not be punting. We either kicking field goals or scoring touchdowns. I like what I've seen from Clay. I don't want to see him though this game. I don't want to see Clay. I love you, Clay, but I don't want to see you.
Right. Plus, I mean, this might be the coldest he's ever been in his life. I mean, I don't know if he's like left Australia in his life, and I'm assuming it's always warm there. I'm a little ignorant on Australia, but that is a legitimate concern, I think, for Fresno State special teams.
Yeah, I wonder what. I'm interested to see how he. Well, he's not going to catch a ball. We're not going to punt, so we're not even going to see. Like when we won't know. Hopefully. We have to score points. We have to score points. I don't mind us kicking field goals every possession. It will be very annoying. But I still think if we kick a field goal every possession, we win the game.
Yep.
Because I don't think the Air Force offense is going to be able to do much against our defense. I think that and then I'll just go into my next key to the game, and then I'll let you go, Caleb, is our front 7 has to be on their A game. And very fundamental. Because that's the triple option. You stick to your assignment. If you do that, you wrap up. This is easy. And there's no one on Air Force, I would say, matches up well to our Devo Bridges, our Corey Foremans, our Malachi Langley's, Phoenix Jackson, like to a CV. These guys should be dominant against this triple option running game. So the key to this game, stick to your assignment, play fundamental football, and wrap up. That's it. Don't lead with your helmet or your shoulder and have a stupid targeting call and try to crush them. Just wrap up, and we'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, next key for me is I think that obviously going with controlling the clock, controlling field position. I mean, we've harped on this every week, but we need to be able to run the ball. And I think that like Fresno State needs to have at least like 150 rushing yards, which doesn't seem like a lot, but I mean, last week I think we were in like the 20s or 30s with total rushing yards. Looking back, the victory against San Jose State, there's only 126 rushing yards total for the team. So that's a number that should be we should be able to accomplish that. So, and I'd like to see Donaldson get some meaningful carries there too. So. I mean, the coaching staff keeps saying like, "Hey, we're just waiting for him to break one because he's due." I mean, he's really close to just being able to break that last tackle and break a long one. So, 150 rushing yards. I think that's a key for Fresno State to get to that number, and that will help with controlling field position, time of possession, etc.
I agree. That's 150 rushing yards. I may throw that in the everybody dance now category. I would love to see that because gosh, man, I can't tell you. Like, if you asked someone in the Red Wave, like, do you think we're going to run for 100 yards? The answer right now is no, I don't think so, based off of what we've seen. Also, I will add Bryson Donaldson. Yes, he's going to break one, but he's got to carry the ball more than 3 times.
Yeah,
got to give him a shot. So I love Elijah, but we got to get Bryson in there as well. Let's split the load. Share the load. I'm all about it. Bryson and Elijah should tear this team up as well. So 150 yards total on the ground, 4 passing touchdowns by Mikey Keene. That would be huge. That would be huge. We'll see what happens. Might be getting a little too excited here. But, I think it may come down to running the ball, Caleb, because as far as I know, there's snow on the ground in Colorado right now. Airport's rough. It's going to be freezing, literally. Do you have the weather update? What's going on there?
Yeah, weather outlook's a little bleak. Our friend Paul Leffler shared something on X today that I guess the local airport there in Colorado is closed. It's covered in snow. The forecast for Saturday, I think the high is 37. There is precipitation coming, so the snow will continue to fall, which is going to be an interesting dynamic for this Fresno State team. See how Mikey's able to handle it. How's the footing? And, usually you want to have a dominant running game when it's going to be kind of a wet and sloppy game. So the weather will be interesting. We'll see how this team is able to adjust, and probably playing the coldest game so far in this season.
Who does this benefit most, Air Force or Fresno State?
Oh, definitely Air Force. I mean, I think that they're trying to make this a ugly, sloppy game, and I don't know, win it like 6-3. So I think that this definitely benefits Air Force.
I agree, and with what we've seen in the run game from Fresno, we're the last team it benefits. I also saw Braylon Nelson is from Colorado. He's never got to play in Colorado. This is I think it's his first time playing in Colorado. Family going to be there, and I commented on the post. I'd love to see Braylon Nelson running full speed downhill run blocking. Okay, we met him. He's a monster of a human being. Get out of the way if he's running. Let's get him running downhill. I know he's playing tackle, but get him, I don't know, run 2 tight ends on that side, pull him, and let him go. I don't know. What do I know about football? Some people would say I don't know anything, but those people don't listen. Anyways, TV. This is on Fox Network. I believe FS1. Is that right?
Correct. Yeah, FS1 kickoff is 6:45, so that plays into it too. I mean, we're definitely at nighttime. It'll be nice and chilly. Also on the radio, obviously on the Bulldog Sports Network. So looks like Paul, Pat, and Cam are all making the trip there. So yeah, definitely your standard options here this week for viewing, and a little bit easier than last week with the interesting Hawaii broadcasts. So a little bit more professional this week, and definitely can enjoy it. I know that the Air Force Stadium, they just finished a renovation, so it should be a nice new stadium, or not new, but rehabbed. So if there's anyone making the trip there to Colorado, should be a nice cold environment for you outside.
All right. The odds for this game, I believe, opened in favor of Fresno State. The spread was 11 and a half. It has now moved to Fresno State. Oh, no, excuse me. What I'm looking at, it opened at 10. It has now moved to Fresno State 10 and a half. Depends on where you go. With an over under of 40 and a half. Caleb, where are you going with this? What's going to be your final score here?
I've got the Dogs winning 14-7. Like, I think this is going to be like a really limited possession game. I think it's going to be a little sloppy, dirty, and I think that Fresno State defense is going to hold on and control this Air Force offense, because it's certainly not prolific. And I mean, I think Air Force has had 4 games this year where they're in single digits. I could do a quick count here: 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so 4 games they've been held to single digit points. So I think that we can make this game number 5 for Air Force only scoring 7 points.
I'm going 24-10. Dogs. 24-10. there's no reason that the Dogs should not win this game and cover the 10.5. Even with the weather, we are a talented team, in my opinion, and a more talented team than Air Force. We should win this game.
No arguments here.
Caleb, I hate to do this, but if things do not go our way, what happens? Like, I know it's going to be complete chaos from the Red Wave on social media. But what's the next step? This is not going to happen. We're going to win. But worst case scenario, if it does, just play with me here. What do we do?
Well, the Bulldogs are 5-4 right now, so loss dropping down to 5-5. I mean, they can still win out and be 8-5, which I think is still acceptable for Skipper to retain the job. So I think that a loss here would certainly, a lot of fans would move on to basketball or NBA or whatever their next thing is, and it's the Colorado State game is going to be pretty empty stadium. So I think that's worst case scenario. I think that this is still kind of Skipper's job to hold, so long as I do think we need 3 more wins. I think he's got to get to 8 wins on the season, and that keeps him the job. So obviously there's 3 regular season games left. So 9 potential victories total for the season is still at stake. So there is still a good chance for him, I think.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried, Caleb. We have. Not for this game. We should win this game, but Colorado State and UCLA those are 2 decent teams. UCLA's beat up, but they've proven like they're getting better. UCLA's getting better. So, we win this game, we get to 6 wins. The next 2 games, I'm not so sure about. I'll just worst case scenario, we go 6-6. Does a 6-6 team in the Mountain West get an invite to a bowl game? That would put us probably 4th in the Mountain West.
I'd say probably. There's so many bowl games now that usually they're hurting for bowl eligible teams. So I think the 6 wins gets us to a bowl game. But at that point, my concern is buy-in from the players and who's actually going to be sticking around and wanting to play in that game.
Right. Well, we've already seen some decommitments from players after that Hawaii game. I was a little worrisome to see. Maybe we can win them back, though. I think with just so many questions in the air when it comes to, we don't have a coach. We have an interim. And then if we're not winning, it's hard to keep kids around, especially high school kids, when they have other options. All right, so we both have Fresno State winning. This should be a Fresno State win. I said that last week, and it did not go well. This should be a Bulldog win. Okay, let's look really quick. I want to get to the scoreboard for the Mountain West because I'll ask you this while it's loading, Caleb. The Mountain West is rumored to be looking into adding Northern Illinois for football only and North Dakota State. Now, we're not going to be a part of it because we're in the Pac-12, but if that happens, what are your thoughts behind Mountain West's future and Pac-12?
Yeah, kind of interesting additions. Northern Illinois, that just seems like a MAC. I just have a hard time seeing them leave. But, at this point, it's all about the money. So if the money's right, then I guess hard to blame them. North Dakota State would be surprising too, just because it seems like there would have been opportunities for them previously, and I feel like I've read that before that they've said no and that they're content playing at the FCS level, and I mean hard to blame them at that too because they're one of the top programs at that level. So yeah, I'm sure that they're just trying to put all the feelers out there. I still think that the Mountain West probably would still prefer just to merge with the remaining Pac-12, but doesn't seem like that's super likely to happen at this point. So I'd be surprised if both of those schools join, but I mean, realignment is always surprising. So I have no idea.
Yeah, it's who needs the money and can they provide it?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing is I think what's quite shocking in my opinion is that there have been, to our knowledge, no numbers released, Pac-12 and Mountain West. And now I know they need schools to get in to go out and get those numbers from these TV markets. But to me, I'm with you. It doesn't make sense for a Northern Illinois who has kind of this brand in the MAC to jump to the Mountain West. But if the money, right, it's all about money. If there's money there, then it's there. But once again, what's that number? And is Northern Illinois really going to be the team to bring into the Mountain West where somebody says, ooh, you know what? I like that market. Let's go out and pay him some money. I don't think so.
Yeah.
So, okay, I got the schedule here. New Mexico at San Diego State, Friday night, 7:30 on FS1. I'm actually intrigued by this game, Caleb, because San Diego State's 2-1 in the Mountain West. They sit above Fresno State right now, but they're 3-5 overall. San Diego State's favored by 2.5 points. New Mexico was in a shootout with Wyoming last week. Where do you think this game goes? I'm very interested in this.
It seems like New Mexico's just been very sporadic this season. I mean, a lot of points, but also giving up a ton of points too. So at home, I feel like the Aztecs should have, the edge here. I mean, weather should be nice, so an improvement for the folks from Albuquerque. But I think that the Aztecs at home, I think they should be able to figure it out because I just haven't seen enough consistency from New Mexico yet this year.
Yeah, I'm actually going to take New Mexico in this one. I think New Mexico can score some points. We'll see if San Diego State can keep up with them. I don't think Snapdragon is this like. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think it's a hard place to play. Put it that way.
Definitely, I agree there.
San Jose State plays Oregon State on the CW in Corvallis. Oregon State 3-point favorite according to ESPN. I think I like San Jose State in this one. What do you think?
This is tough. I mean, looking at some of Oregon State's losses, I mean, it got smoked by Cal, and UNLV handled them. So, I mean, I think if the good San Jose shows up, they could definitely win. And I think that I would like to see San Jose State win. So I think I'll join you there and pick the Spartans.
Sweet. Nevada loses to Boise. That's easy. Boise's 24-point favorite. Wowzers.
Primetime on Fox.
Yeah, that's everybody wants to watch Ashton Janty, man. And shoot, even Madsen has been playing well. This last game, he went crazy. Man. I mean, I'm cheering for him. At the same time, I can't stand them. UNLV goes to the island, plays Hawaii at 6 p.m. on CBS Sports Network. UNLV's 13.5-point favorite. You think Hawaii can hang with these boys?
I don't think so. The UNLV rushing attack, I think, is going to travel well across the ocean. So I would take UNLV here. I'm
going to take UNLV in a close one. I think Hawaii covers, but I'm going to take UNLV in a close one. I like Shager. I like Shager. Fresno State beats Air Force, and then Utah State. Gosh, I don't even think I've seen one highlight of Fresno State this year. Of Utah State this year. Maybe one. but they play Washington State in Pullman. Washington State is 7-1. They're ranked 21 in the country. Washington State's 20.5-point favorite. Caleb, this isn't close in my opinion. Washington State destroys them.
Yeah, they should. I mean, Washington State has had a lot of close games this year that shouldn't have been close, but I don't think this is going to be one of them. I think that they should take care of Utah State at home.
All right, let's look at the college football playoff bracket that was released today. Here's the bracket. Oregon 1, Georgia 2, Miami 3, BYU 4. They get the byes straight into the quarterfinals. Ohio State gets the 5 seeds, so they would host Boise State, the 12 seed. Boise State is the 5th conference champion that's in. And then you have Indiana at Tennessee, Bama at Texas. That would be fun. And then Notre Dame at Penn State. I think all those matchups are a lot of fun. Caleb, here's my beef, though, and you could say what you will about it. Boise State, in my opinion, is not the 12 seed in this as of right now. I think that they're better than some teams in here. Now, a lot needs to play out still. I think Indiana's a little overrated. But what I don't like seeing is this 5th conference champion being listed as the G5, bid. This is the G5 bid. It's not the G5 bid. It's the 5th best conference champion. And in my opinion, Caleb, if BYU or Miami or Oregon or Georgia, they start slipping up, it's probably going to have to be BYU or Miami. They slip up and lose 2 games and don't end up winning their conference. I think Boise could easily slip into that top 4 conference championship or the bye. They get that first round bye. What are your thoughts on that?
That'd be huge. I don't think Boise beats Ohio State. I think that, they should have a good chance against Notre Dame and Tennessee, heck, even Alabama. DeBoer, I don't know if he can handle Boise. So, I agree. It is kind of dumb that they're just automatically penciled in at the number 12, but also not surprised. Usually not a ton of respect for the G5.
Yeah, and there's lots of football to be played, so this is going to change drastically. I saw someone put up the first 4-team college football playoff bracket the first time it came, and Mississippi State was one. I think this was Dak Prescott. Right. It was like Mississippi State won, and they ended up not being in it, and all these things. First 2 teams out, SMU and Texas A&M. SMU, man, having a good season in the ACC. I can't believe it. After their struggle against Nevada in week 1, they seem to figure things out.
They bounce back.
Yeah. Caleb, this Friday, 7 p.m., men's Fresno State basketball takes on Sacramento State. My brother said it's been hard to find tickets. He got tickets. But it's hard to find tickets online. So if you want to go, you need to get tickets now. I think this is going to be probably the most attended basketball game in the past 5 years for sure.
At least even a Fresno State home basketball game. Yeah, I think I'd agree with that. There's some hope in the air. I think if anything, it's going to be a more exciting product. Hopefully this team is putting up 90 points a game compared to like 45 under the previous regime. So, yes, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing this team in action and seeing a brand new style of play for this team that's been kind of stale.
Yeah, I had some people ask me yesterday about the basketball team, what we can expect. So I'm just going to quickly tell you guys, if you're curious, we're going to play way faster. It's a different brand of basketball. We're going to shoot a lot of threes. We are better. Well, at least we shot better in the scrimmage than we usually do. So we're going to shoot and hopefully make a lot of threes. We're going to attack the rim. We are a long, lanky team and very athletic. So we have guys that can jump out of the gym, and we're basically going to drive to the rim. If it's not there, we're going to kick it out and we're going to shoot the three. That's what we're going to do. And then we're going to play very physical and high pressure defense. So that's what it's going to be like. It sounds, when you say it out loud, it sounds like what Hutt would say. If you guys listened to Coach Hutt back in the day, sounds like what he said like preseason, but it never ended up being that way. This Wahlberg, it is that way, and we saw it in the scrimmage. I mean, they make the basket and they stay there because they're going to play full court press defense. Mm-hmm. And I talked to some older guys last night at church, and they're all pumped because this is Tarkanian basketball. I'm like, well, okay. Yeah. To be honest, I was really young when Tarkanian was coaching. I remember him sitting there chewing on the towel, but I don't remember the style of basketball they played. And Wahlberg came and coached practices when I was playing, and so I'm a little biased. But anyways, it's a little different. It's going to be fun.
As long as we can avoid the 2 for 25 from 3-point line this season, I think that things should be much better.
It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited, and I'm ready to bring that energy back that used to be here when Tark was here. And because I think Wahlberg can bring that energy back. I mean, I can just see it in the 70-year-olds that I'm talking to. You know, they're all pumped up and they're going to the game, and so I can't say it's going to be loud if all those guys are there, but there's going to be a lot of people there. So I'm really excited for basketball season and what it's going to bring to Fresno. And I mean, because this is honestly, the Central Valley is a great basketball place. There's a lot of good basketball players around here, and I'm excited to see what happens. So I know my brother Cole, who's going to be talking with us throughout basketball season about this. He's going to the game. I'm going to try and get to the game if my wife lets me. I'm going to try and take the 2-year-old and see if my wife wants to hang out with the 12-day-old. But yeah, it's going to be fun. So if you have basketball questions or you're going to be there and you see us, and Caleb and I say this often, but if you see us, please say hi, because we are terrible with faces and names. So please say hi. Tell us you listen to the show, and then give us a word of advice or what you'd like to see happen on the show, because we'd love to. This is your guys' show. We want to make this interactive between you guys. My brother said you need to read the chat more. Like, man, I don't know. That's tough, because last episode they were going crazy. So, but make sure you hop in the chat Sundays, 7 p.m. Well, we're going to recap this game, and I have a feeling we're going to recap a Bulldogs win. So, Caleb, I'm excited for this Saturday.
That's right. Me too. Hopefully the Bulldogs can get back in the win column. It's been a lot of, more sad Sundays this season than we would have liked.
Be sure to like the video. Leave a comment down below. It really helps us out. And, we will see you. If I don't see you Friday, we'll see you at the next roundup on Fresno State's campus. Hey, for God so loved the world, he gave his one and only son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. If you guys have any questions about Jesus, and I just want to say this, election day was yesterday. It doesn't matter who won the election, because Jesus is on the throne. And if you want that peace and you have questions about it, hit up Caleb and I. We'd love to talk to you about Jesus. We're big fans, the biggest fans. Right? We like Fresno State, but we're Jesus guys. Hit us up. But as always, another way to unify people, and we kind of can plug Jesus in there a little bit and hook you, is Fresno State football. So as always, go Dogs.
Go Dogs.